Hello and thanks for joining the first edition of Journalist Hangout this week. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the program, APC restates commitment to Nigeria's restructuring. Boko Haram overruns Gandum Bali in Borno State as killer hitmen continue carnage in Plateau and Taraba states. And later on the show, in table tennis, Aruna Kodri rules Africa. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Mayor Akipelu, and Shola Ojeusi. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Welcome back. The quest for Nigeria's development has defied logic and countless theories. For some concerned citizens, the problems are structural, hence the need to restructure the federating units. This cry for restructuring has been loud recently, leading to verbal war in many quarters. But the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, says the late covert of restructuring gospel are only playing to the gallery. While restating its commitments to restructuring, the APC said it is considering practical approaches to implementing the reports of its committee on true federalism. So it is never too late to take the right action. Let me start with you, Babajide. I think, if you ask me, and I'm asking you now, don't you think APC is trying to be clever by half? Because it has never looked as if President Muhammadu Buhari is somebody that's bought into the gospel of restructuring. Though his allies, the Asiwaju Bola Tinubu of this world, everybody that came from the progressive flanks, they used to, campaign about restructuring Nigeria and everything. But at the time that President Buhari got there, President Buhari did not show any interest in this restructuring thing. The closest they got to it was Nasiru El-Rufai committee, and that committee, the report, we don't know where it is right now.
Yeah, President Buhari is not Nigeria. President Buhari is not APC. He's just an individual. No matter what we want to turn him to, like a modern-day Voltron, he's just an individual. And the worst that any leader can do to himself is to try to kill an idea whose time has come. From the look of things, Nigerians want restructuring. In the past, yes, through the different confabs that we've had, Nigerians had expressed the desire to see changes in the way the country gets run, in the structure, in the structure of the country. But many times, due to selfish interests of the members of the confab, it would not happen. Remember, in 2006, when Nigerians demanded for something like this, a restructuring in another form, and Southern leaders came together. In the end, because of the fear that Obasanjo was going to achieve third term, his desperation to achieve third term, all the ideas that the 2005 Constitutional Review came up with were thrown away. For example, at that time, it was resolved by the constituents that power should be rotated between the 3 senatorial zones in every state. At that time, rotatory system was what they asked for. And we could have inserted it into the Constitution. But today, when you talk about rotation of power, nobody wants to listen anymore. But you see clearly that Nigerians, in order to have a sense of belonging, they want a situation in which even if they are the minority in their respective states, they want to be part of decision-making. They want to be given opportunities. So now, you know, I warned last week, and there were a few people who thought, oh, you were just criticizing the vice president for nothing. And I've seen even some posts by some, even some misguided lawyer saying, oh, what's Jide saying? A lot of them thought I was merely supporting Atiku. No, I was warning the VP that it is, at this time, Nigerians want restructuring. You have to be careful the way you criticize those who are asking for restructuring, because many people will not remember that all your public life, you've always wanted restructuring. You fought for it up to Supreme Court level. You've given so many speeches demanding for fiscal federalism, demanding that more powers should be given to the states. That's the VP. But if the VP suddenly, in trying to criticize the later day converts to restructuring, many people may misunderstand that to mean that the VP does not want restructuring. Remember what happened the last time when they actually, even the newspapers misrepresented him.
That's when he called.
And that was why I stood for caution that, look, Nigerians want restructuring at this time. So those who are saying that, promising it, in the PDP, the people like McCarthy who are promising restructuring, people like the former Senate President David Mark, who are asking for restructuring, people like Atiku, it is because they can feel the mood of the people. They know that the Nigerian people want it. Politicians are good at saying what people want to hear. So you must not be seen to be opposing restructuring by your comments that it is good governance that Nigerians want. No, we want good governance. But if you ask me, between good governance and restructuring at this time, which one will you take first? Nigerians will say that they prefer restructuring, because if we do not fundamentally restructure our country, even that good governance that you are talking about will not happen, because some of the injustices of our system ensure that good governance will not happen. Let me give the example of the power sector, for example. If we have a law that says once you generate as a state, once you generate above megawatts, you must feed it into the national grid. That is not a law that Nigerians will be happy to have. If you can, let states be able to generate their own electricity. Let Lagos, for example, be able to give electricity to its people. A situation in which Kwara spends so much money on a power project, and then when the project was completed and they began to generate power, you now said they should feed it into the national grid so that the communities from Oyo North, like Kishi and the rest of them, can benefit. Just the same way that Kwara will benefit. I would expect that at least Kwara should be able to get 80% of what taxpayers' money in their state was used to for that purpose. And then, of course, you look at state police. Because state police, too, is one of the things that Nigerians want. If we want our country to be better secure, in the view of many Nigerians, then this state police has to happen. So this is the issue. If you now oppose it to say, oh, it's good governance that, or is to defeating corruption is what Nigerians want, you will cast yourself as someone who is opposing restructuring, and it could work against your party. So don't blame the APC if they are coming up with it now. If they are saying that, look, we are committed to restructuring. Because that's what Nigerians want.
Because maybe I want to ask you that, look, it's as if it's not like a campaign tool. It's not the genuine agitation that we used to see in the 80s, in the 90s for restructuring. It's not. Right now, if APC is not in government, APC will use it as a campaign tool against PDP. Now APC is now in government. And the People's Democratic Party, if you look at the tendencies that are agitating for restructuring, especially, they're from the People's Democratic Party.
Yeah, I see restructuring like an elephant. Everybody is saying it from different angles. So it is what is convenient for them that is their term, restructuring. But I agree that for us to move forward as a country, we need to restructure the country. But I think part of the problem is that when some people hear restructuring, it's like as if fundamentally there's going to be a change in the Nigerian state, which not necessarily so. What I think most people want is that we should have fiscal federalism, because it is not fair for some states who did not really bring much to the table, take so much from the coffers of the federal government, fiscally. It is not fair for you to allow states to charge people VAT or generate VAT within their own community, and then you put it in the big box, and somebody who did not contribute.
Like, let's say there's VAT on alcohol.
That's what I'm saying.
And there's some states
somebody who did not contribute will now get as the person that contributed to it. It is not fair for us it's not fair for the Southeast, for example, for them to have a state shut out of other geopolitical zones. It is not fair for us to, in Lagos, for example, for us to fight crime, and then we have to give a lot of money to police that is controlled in Abuja. You understand? So you see that a lot of states, people say that chief executives are the governors are the chief executives in their states, which is not true.
Chief security officer.
The chief security officer, but which is not true, because you realize that when push comes to shove, the order is from the IG in Abuja, and the commissioner can defy the governor of that state. You understand? We have even seen situations where in this same country, commissioners have told governors that they cannot leave the premises of the state house, or sometimes that their convoy cannot enter to certain areas.
It happened to Amechi now.
It happened to Amechi.
In the
so
state.
It's not, if you want to be really serious, those are the restructuring that people are talking about. There are certain fundamental issues that is wrong with the polity that we need to address. Like when you mentioned the issue of NEPA, if you notice that when Lagos State first started with bringing that Aaron project at that time, if that Aaron project had continued, yes, at that time, if the Aaron project had continued, maybe Lagos would have been self-sufficient in electricity by now. Yes. But at that time, for a long time, the Aaron project was there. They could not even allow it. Yes. Then eventually, they were forced to put it in the national grid. And in this so-called national grid, we have only one transmission line that collapses every time. Do you understand? So
I think it collapsed.
Yes, every time, because it's only one is hold. It has not been worked on and all that. So it is fundamental that we must restructure the country and we must have fiscal federalism. It's very important if we want to move forward as a nation. If not, we'll just be running around and we'll not achieve anything.
Mr. Jones, looking at the highlights now, will this now be like a campaign tool? Because as I'm talking to you now, the South leaders, the Ohanes and Digbo, they are with former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. They want to call aspirants, they want to call candidates. Just tell us what you're going to do about restructuring. And they've said it severally that if you don't have plans to restructure, we are not going to vote for your party.
I think something is clear now. It has become a campaign issue. That's just the fundamental thing we should know. But the bottom line, before I go further, I would like to ask, how sincere are these people? Is it just a way of playing down the gallery to just get the people's vote, get there, and then you become a teen god against what was your campaign promises? Those are issues that will be looked into. But even look, just like Mayor said, the issue of restructuring, and also echoing Jide, the issue of restructuring has been there over the years. And one should be happy, in Nigeria, that at last, whether we like it or not, it has come to the front burner of issues in Nigeria, because we cannot continue the way we are. I want to recall, people have been saying maybe APC was not really there. I know right from January, I have to blame them because there was a kind of committee set up in January.
Across geopolitical zones.
Headed by El Rufai. Committee on Restructuring, I thought there was a decision made or there were some recommendations. Why did we have to wait? Or why did they have to wait till September or now
5 months
to now
to the election?
Now, people have to be serious here. The issue of restructuring is not just an idea that is just coming up. It is something that has to be the major issue of this campaign, of this election. Because look at everywhere. Even those who used to be somewhat, in quotes, against restructuring are now coming up to understand. That's why you have people like Atiku. It might be a latter-day convert, like people are saying, but still, it shows that eventually they've seen the necessity of the... there are so many issues raised, even by the APC, from that committee. The issue of state police, devolution of power, resource control, the issue of the so-called exclusive list of the government. In the modern world, in modern Nigeria, there are so many things in that exclusive list because of what we have in the states, because of the need for the states who will go to the federal authorities with caps in hand for money. There is the need for us to be able to give the states what they have and what they can use to sustain themselves. So there are so many of these things available in all those things that are being held captive, in quotes, by the federal authorities. So if you have restructuring, it is no longer even a question of mundane campaign things. It is the reality of the nation. And those who are campaigning for election will have to know that Nigerians are serious about this. And they are watching. They know who's right, who's sincere, and who's not sincere. And so if you are coming to speak tongue-in-cheek about this issue, then it's your own undo, because Nigerians will decide based on what they believe is the right thing for the country.
Okay, let me take this call. Chuks is calling us from Enugu State. Thank you for joining us, Chuks.
Hello?
Yes, Chuks.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Good evening to your guest. Good evening.
I greet you. Good evening.
I pray that one day I will see you live.
Okay.
And I will shake your hand. You have been doing a wonderful work.
Amen.
Now my contribution is this. Babajide, I think you people in the media should dig more to demand from these leaders, especially these aspirants, the type of restructuring they want. So that if you move away from just campaign tool, like Ayo is saying, we should get to a point where, Atiku, you are saying you are for restructuring. What type of restructuring are you planning to give us? What is your stand on state police? What is your stand on the evolution of power? So that we will know the stand of all these politicians before we could get to election. It will also help us. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. And rounding up on this topic, Babajide, now, when you look at what's the government of the day, what they're trying to do, some of the time is not as if they want to alter it the way everybody wants it, hold hook, line, and sinker like that. Like trying to decentralize the operations of Nigerian police, telling the DIGs of each of the region. For me, I see that as an attempt, as a way to actually start the process of restructuring without necessarily tinkering with the Constitution.
Yes, because you know how difficult it is to achieve unanimity when it comes to fundamentally causing some amendments to happen to the Constitution. It's a very difficult process, and they are trying to find a way around it. But I still think that the kind of restructuring that Nigerians want cannot be achieved unless we amend the Constitution. For example, the Constitution recognizes only one police. It says that there shall be only one police. Yeah. You know? So, and if we want to go the route of the Americans, every state, every country has its own police, for effective maintenance of security, then we may have to look at the Constitution and some of those things placed in the exclusive list, and as stipulated in the Constitution, we have to amend some of those sections so that we can actually achieve the restructuring that we want.
All right, moving on now. The war against insurgency in Nigeria's northeast is becoming a frightful nightmare that no one wants to relive. But the reality is telling us in the face menacingly, like fearful monster. Now, the insurgent group Boko Haram has intensified its daring attacks on military formations to the chagrin of all of us. At the weekend, they overrun Gudumbali town, that is in Borno State, and sacked troops stationed there. The number of casualties, according to the State Deputy Governor Usman Dokwa, cannot be yet ascertained, adding to the festering injury that, adding salt to the festering injury, is a resumed spate of killings by suspected herdsmen in Plateau and Taraba states. Mayor, it's now becoming very, very worrisome that these terrorists are not just going to, terrorize people in their villages and the hideouts. We're even thinking by now, IDPs, there's a plan for them to start relocating them to their, various communities so that we free the IDPs and those people, they can get their lives back. But what we are saying is that these people, they've been attacking military formations, killing our soldiers and collecting their ammunitions, and we've been seeing a kind of, rise in the number of Boko Haram terrorists that will go to military formations to actually attack them.
Yeah, I think the security situation is a big drawback for this government. Yes, I know that the Nigerian Army and our officers have done relatively well. But it seems part of the problem is that the government does not realize the kind of challenges that they need to face. At the initial stage, when they seem to have scored a lot of points over the soldiers, they were too excited. They were too carried away to claim victory. And we know that terrorism is not a normal war. It's something that is a continuous war. America has been in Afghanistan since the Gulf War. They are still there. It's not because these people, it's not a normal thing. So you don't see them. When you defeat them, they go back, they live among people in different villages. They try to reorganize themselves and they come back. And a lot of factors have contributed to the kind of things that we are saying. Now, one way or the other, they'll be able to make some money under the table, and they'll be able to invest that money in getting a lot of arms. They'll be able to, they've had enough time to reorganize themselves. They'll be able to have enough time to reorganize themselves. And what they do now is to identify soft targets. Because it is very difficult for the Nigerian military to be able to establish strong presence everywhere, especially in villages.
Sure, soft target alone?
No, I use the word soft target in the sense that if they want to attack the military now, they try to look for an outpost where they know that the soldiers that are stationed in those outposts, they can overwhelm them. They come with a superior force and they overwhelm them. Now, I'm using that as a soft target within the military, not attacking civilians and all that. They do that. They attack civilians and they kidnap people and all that. But now, because they've reorganized, because, as you know, ISIS has been defeated, the Caliphate has been defeated, so a lot of those ardent soldiers have relocated to ISIS West Africa. You understand? Then they have, because of the under-table deals, they'll be able to get some money and they'll be able to get some arms. And then they now have soldiers who are there. So they can identify, because if we notice, now, yes, because why it is worrisome is that apart from those outposts, they also now start coming to the cities. They are engaging this army in the cities. And this government has to realize that Boko Haram is a major, in fact, the problem is as serious as it was 3 years ago. And they have to realize, because if you look at the time, there was a time that this herdsmen killing relatively went down. Because even if they kill anybody, if it's only one soul, we cannot justify it. But it's not as rampant as it used to be. But there is an upsurge again. And this government has to realize, because one of the major campaigns for APC was security. And if for whatever reason they cannot solve the problem of security, they cannot claim to have succeeded. or to have met the yearnings of the Nigerian people.
Shola, is there any nexus between this security challenge and any time we want to have election?
I was going to
4 years ago,
say that.
it escalated. The election was postponed. Now we found ourselves in this junction.
I think this government must be very careful. We are 5 months away from the February presidential election. These guys, you know, of recent, there has been a lot of victory claims by the military of being able to suppress a lot of things. They have really reduced the threat matrix from these insurgents. And like I said, knowing the insurgency stock in trade, the guerrilla pattern is to create some sudden, attacks, give the impression they are still there. They want the people to know that, yes, they've been saying we have been brought down, we have been reduced somewhere, but they come with such sudden attacks and then to be able to show that we're still here. So that element is there. And these people are also aware, whether we like it or not, they communicate with the people every day. They come on social media, they do a lot of things. They know what is going on in the country. And like you said, the election is at the peak, the preparation. And they may have one way of showing that, okay, these people said they're going to defeat us, but now the election has come and then we're going to show them. Now, so that's one issue that the government should be very, very conscious of. This may be the beginning of a number of attacks coming on. Something has to be done to forestall such. It's also another way of showing, if you have brought down the threat matrix, and maybe these people have been, the kind of ammunition they have has been reduced considerably, why would they not want to attack a military base? Because if they know they have the opportunity of getting more arms, securing more arms from such outposts. So there has to be a more drastic approach to even those so-called outposts so that such so-called soft targets will not be so easy to get to like they did over that weekend.
Okay,
so,
I have on the line, Chike is calling us from Benue State, I think. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Chike.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead with your contributions, please.
Actually, I wish to commend the great work you're doing, you gentlemen over there. Especially Mr. Ozubako, the ace presenter. I'm particularly impressed with the way you present this program.
Thank you, sir.
Now, again, Baba Jide, actually it's been difficult to get through, but this was meant to be your birthday analysis. So listen to this carefully. I describe Jide as an impressionable, analytic innovator of encyclopedic journalism.
Wow, that's interesting.
Thank you very much.
You sabi English very well.
As the other gentlemen. Then for the topic, I think at this time, what should matter most is the use of the Air Force and the drones. There's no need exposing our military men to a lot of danger. I think the drones can spy without being detected. And then the planes will finish them off. All these ones, they are sending them on ground. They are always stories here and there. So I think the Air Force is the best option at this time, so that we waste less number of lives. I don't think they will be able to escape that. It's easier to use spy and then finish them off. So let's have, unless there's an undercurrent of, undercurrent of sabotage.
Thank you, Chike. Thank you for your compliment, Chike. I'll take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. You're still on to Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this time out. Please stay with us. It's one of the best programs on television. They call it Journalist Hangout. We're reaching you live from Television Continental here in Lagos, Nigeria, and we are looking at the war against insurgents. Babajide, I don't know, we've been doing a kind of tracking reports from all our correspondents in the last 1-2 weeks. Majorly, I want you, before we talk about Taraba and Plateau State, I want you to talk about this military attack. And last week, you showed me another picture of another officer we lost.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. This town, Gudumbali, the Borno state government made a big show of relocating IDPs back to the town. And the government did its best, carried out some reconstruction, built health centers, you know, and even a government lodge. So that at least it's Gudumbali that has faced consistent attack from Boko Haram. It was in this town that Boko Haram killed 100 soldiers in one day.
100?
Yes. Some years back, in 2014. This is the constituency of the Speaker of the Borno State House of Assembly, Alhaji Abdulkarim Lawan. So this, after resettling people in this place, then Boko Haram came on Friday, around 4 p.m.
It's Friday.
Yes. Chased everybody away, chased away the soldiers. Because they came with overwhelming force. And the good thing about soldiers is they are trained to live to fight another day. It happened, it still happens. If 500 Boko Haram men attack an army base, with so many of them on gun trucks, I don't know where Boko Haram got gun trucks these days. When there was a town that they attacked recently, in the same Borno state, they came with about 15 gun trucks. They destroyed the army base, took away, what was it called, APC, set ablaze the base. So it's exactly what they did in this town. The people had to flee. Some ran to Gubio. Some of the residents ran to Monguno. Some ran to Damasak. Some ended up in Maiduguri. As we speak, Ayo, the district head of this town is in Maiduguri. People have fled. More than 80% of the residents of Gudumbali are now in IDP camps, Maiduguri, Damasak, Gubio, and the rest of them. And after they had succeeded, because when they came in, according to the residents of the town, they said, see, we have not come to kill you. It is soldiers that we have come to kill.
What effrontery?
But Momoke Soba, it is not you that we are looking for. We are not looking for you people. It is the army that we have come to kill. So,
spelling it out.
You can live.
They were not targeting civilians.
Yes. They didn't kill any civilian.
That should be the Abanawi faction.
Yes. That is the more dangerous faction. Most of the killings in recent time, most of the attacks on the army bases are carried out by the Abanawi faction. Any attack, like the attack on Ran, where they kidnapped that midwife and killed the health worker, it was
Shekau people.
It was no, it was Abanawi. The attack, because they control the Lake Chad area, and all these communities are not far from that area. The Lake Chad, Niger, all those communities close to Niger Republic, these guys are very active in those areas. Yes. I've said it that one of the biggest...
What do they have against the army that their own calling is to bring that army?
Because the army doesn't spare them. They are saying that one of the fundamental disagreements they had with Shekau was that Shekau will come and just be killing people, set ablaze people's homes.
Like somebody
they are not interested in that.
Deranged.
It is the army that they have issues with. It is this Abanawi faction that carried out the attack in Dapchi and took away those girls. The attack in Jili, where they killed our soldiers while dressed like soldiers, was also carried out by them. Some of the most deadly attacks in recent times, whereby they are more dangerous than Shekau. In fact, when they encounter Shekau's people, maybe Shekau's people are born in a village and they get there, they attack the Shekau people, kill them, and then they'll tell the people, we have no problem with you. So what they did, they began attacking the village at 4 p.m. and left at dawn. By that time, the government lodge, they had set ablaze. They had set ablaze the school there. They had set ablaze the health facility there. All those things that the Borno state government had done to make the place comfortable for people to return, they destroyed. And they were saying, we've come to take back our town. But Boko Haram has no plan to retain any town now. All they do is they want to show the army that they have not been defeated. Because you cannot be attacking. In the last 1 year, Boko Haram must have attacked at least 10 military bases that I know. You can't be attacking military bases like that. Somebody will say they don't exist, or they've been defeated, or that it is soft targets alone that they can defeat. What I know are soft targets, places like markets, going to bomb places like markets and schools. Those are soft targets. But when you take the battle to the military, it's not a soft target. A military base is no soft target. And it shows that they still retain the capacity to cause evil. Our people don't like the truth. I was at a seminar organized by the Army in, I think, 2016. And the best friend of the Chief of Army Staff is the VC of Modibo Adama University in Yola. His best friend, they grew up together. They were in the same classroom for 6 years. The VC was saying that, look, we made a mistake in killing the leader of the Boko Haram group. And he also said that Boko Haram has not been defeated. I was watching soldiers, some of them were grumbling. Because clearly, despite being the best friend of the Chief of Army Staff, he said the truth. But it's only the truth that can help us. If we need help, we must get help. These guys have been attacking. Look at why was this man removed as a commander of Operation Lafia Dole, theater commander? Why was Rogers Nicholas? It was because of those twin attacks, the ambush in Bama, and where they took away 2 of our military trucks, and the one in Gili, because it was embarrassing. We lost many soldiers. So even now, I've read the report that the service chiefs have gone back to Borno. If you Google it, you will see where the lawmaker representing Borno South, Ali Ndume, is expressing concern that Boko Haram has become very strong again. That this is something that bothers him. Even if he does not say it, anyone who can read, anyone who is perceptive can see that there's problem. There's problem. So what we need to do now is try our best, equip the army. It is equipment that will make the difference. I always talk about T-72 when they brought it. It helped us to chase these guys away, and we had elections. Equip the army sufficiently. We still have equipment deficiency. Talk to generals in the army, talk to commanders, talk to middle cadre officers. They will admit to you that we still have issues with equipment. Then our neighbors, people talk about, oh, we have the multinational joint task force. The multinational joint task force is not achieving so much because we are not getting sufficient support from our neighbors. Look at a country like Niger Republic. Look at Niger Republic. Niger Republic, these people are coming in from inside Niger Republic.
Okay, I have Tunde calling us from the United Kingdom.
Hello, hi, good evening to you all.
Good evening, Tunde.
Yeah. My contribution is this. Yeah, let's start from the first part of this. There are 2 parts of this quick call I want to make, and one is to do with the restructuring. The restructuring, I think, is a game of chess with the NG room, which are considered the House of the National Assembly, right? We know that we're going to use in most cases, the police as part of the restructuring process. Now, moving forward, because I know that time is of the essence. If you look at what has happened, right? If we have the plan or blueprint of Lagos in each state, supported by the army, what's going on in Borno State, you see that a lot, if you have the police there who are indigenous of Borno, and the army behind them, right, as a backup, they will be able to stand the tide of some of the problems that they are experiencing. What is going on in Nigeria now is we are not sincere. We are making a lot of our sisters widows and children fatherless.
Thank you, Tunde, for your contribution all the way from the United Kingdom. Mayor, looking at this situation now, apart from what is happening in the Northeast, we now have mindless killings by militias in Taraba State, ongoing in Plateau Jos. I mean, in Jos.
Yeah, it's a problem that has been with us. And I insist that I think the problem has to do with the fact that government has not shown enough will to deal with the problem. Because the S-Men thing is more of criminality. And it is important for government
Not economy.
No, I think I believe it's criminality. Because some people
tell you that it's the problem between the farmers and the grazers.
Yeah, but I don't think that because of a problem between farmers and S-Men, you should now go and be killing people in villages and burning villages and sacking villages. That cannot be economic. That is criminal.
3 soldiers.
That is criminality.
Last weekend.
That is criminality. It is because there are some people. Yeah, there are some people who are not doing.
And they killed 3 policemen in Lao, in Taraba.
So the government has to show enough will to be able to confront those who are involved in criminality.
I saw him talking tough yesterday.
It's not. I don't see it as economic.
You need to descend heavily on them.
I don't think it's economic.
There is a lot of insinuation that we've been talking of economy. Artsmen want to graze, but when it's getting to the level of sacking villages and doing that, people have been giving insinuation that it's more political, and it's now left for the government to understand that this thing can be taken out of their hands if they are not careful. I said it earlier, we're going to election. The last time we met here, we were talking about the problems in Zamfara, in Katsina. It's like that one has been doused a bit. So it's like the government has to be more determined about this situation. That's the.
You know, when the last killings happened in Plateau State, the army put the soldiers that have been operating in Plateau State on standby, that they could be moved. Because we have relative peace in Plateau now, because the army has been serving justice to these killer headsmen.
Yes.
Sometime early last week, they tried to invade Guma, but the army fought them for hours and stopped these people. Now, what is likely to happen is that they will move some of those soldiers, because we don't have enough. We'll move some of them to maybe Plateau State to stop the killings there. Because when you go to the point of killing 3 soldiers, you've declared war on Nigeria.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's criminality.
And that's the way, and I believe that any group, any militant group that lays his hand on a Nigerian soldier should be treated.
Should be expecting war.
Should expect war, and that the maximum anger should be visited on them.
Regular proportion.
So this nonsense has to stop. In Taraba, in Lao, they killed 3 policemen and 3 civilians. The pictures are all over the internet. And people are calling from Lao, save us. These killer headsmen have continued to kill our people. Save us. So how much longer will this kind of mindless killings continue in our country, as if we are in the Stone Age?
Wow. Okay, moving forward now. Now let's talk sports. Nigeria is beginning to assert its dominance on the game of table tennis, otherwise called ping pong in Africa. This is owing to the rising profile of the country's leading star in the game, Haruna Quadri. The world number 22 confirmed his supremacy in the game on the continent when he defeated Egypt's Ahmed Saleh to emerge men's singles champion at the 2008 ITTF African Championship in Mauritius on Sunday. This is coming 28 days after Quadri won the ITTF Nigeria Open Challenge here in Lagos. So, all hail Haruna Quadri as he rules Africa. Mayor.
Yes, I want to commend Haruna Quadri. But Haruna Quadri is indictment on the sports policy in Nigeria. We don't have a sports policy. We have a sports ministry that doesn't do anything. They just go to government and collect money to spend on the Super Eagles.
More interesting.
Because the money we spend on football, we neglect other sporting associations. And these people...
Okay, in terms of age, that's what you're talking about. No, Haruna Quadri.
No. I want to commend him for what he has achieved. And I'm saying that what he has achieved is an indictment on the Nigerian sports because we don't have a sporting policy. Instead of us to have an holistic sporting policy where we can develop different sports in Nigeria, Nigerian government spends most of their resources on football. Who, at best, the only thing they give us is that they qualify for the World Cup and they will not even pass, they will not even get to the quarterfinal. But you will see people like Haruna ruling Africa, competing effectively in the world. So I want to ask the federal government that we should change this policy of putting politicians in charge of our sports. They should put people who are knowledgeable in sports, that they'll be able to come up with a policy to develop other sporting associations. They should be able to convince...
Give them free hand.
Yes, they should, and give them free hand. Actually, they should be able to convince the company. We have an education tax fund that companies pay. We should have a sports fund. We should have a pool of resources that can develop other sports. Because if
we want to diversify our economy now...
If we spend 1/10 of what we spend on football, on these other sports, we will rule the world in different categories. Wrestling, boxing, table tennis. But they don't spend money on them. If you look at our wrestlers, if you look at our power lifters all over the world, we are one of the best in the world.
Even athletics.
Yes, but they don't give them anything. It's just some few companies that try to assist these people. These people find their own path on their own. The government just spends all the money on football, and I've not seen.
They embezzle the rest.
And they embezzle the rest. And they put politicians in charge of our sports who do not know anything about sports. So they should put people who understand sports, who can give us a policy that can develop our athletes.
Shola?
I agree with Mayor. I think he has hit the nail on the head. We go to Olympics. One thing about Olympics is a multi-sport event. Yeah. In fact, football is somewhat discounted. And you have countries, I mean, we have to remember some ladies from the US had to go and represent Nigeria in that. You can see individuals coming up and then achieving great things like Haruna Quadri did. There are so many individuals like that going for individual sports, not, I mean, the team sport that we are concentrated, especially football. There are so many other areas. There is a guy, Uche Chukwumerije, who has been trying to help.
Judo.
Is it judo?
Taekwondo. I think
there are so many people like that all over Nigeria. There is nothing stopping us, huge as we have so far, that we cannot have, I mean, something to write home about when there are Olympic Games or multi-sport festivals, all Africa Games. The last one we did, you know. So the concentration, like you said, on football, good. You know, football unites us. I mean, it's like the most popular games. But there are countries in the world who don't even play football.
America,
India has looked at so many
as the way soccer is not
Imagine India coming out and performing creditably in swimming, in cricket.
China won Olympic Games.
So,
whereas they can't play football.
We have to look beyond soccer, really, and try and see how we can encourage people like this. But then not also depend only on government. I think corporate organizations too should also come up to...
But that should be a policy.
Yeah, the policy, yes.
What is unique about Haruna Quadri as a player?
No, his style is intense. He doesn't give up. He's fast. His forehand is very good. Very good.
Talented. When you say forehand?
Very, very talented.
Okay.
Do you play tennis?
No? Yes. He's so... when he's on the defensive, he uses his backhand. You know, when to defend. But when he's on the offensive, it is the forehand. It is the forehand that does the damage. You know. So, and it's always looping and making sure that he loops with accuracy. He can be far from the table, but you can be sure that he will pick the ball. If you watch the Lagos, this Lagos tournament, the ITTF challenge, you see that even Ambode was very excited when he won this, you know, and it shows that that's a man in form.
And then
Because if he moved,
staying power has been around forever.
No, not him. This boy is young. He used to be our junior champion.
Oh,
this boy is very new. He's Toriola that.
That's the guy.
Toriola has gone to 5 Olympics.
Yes, it's Toriola. Yes. This is the guy that was the other time. I think that they met.
This boy will be greater than all
yes. This is the guy that they met the other time.
Just from the junior ranks.
Junior ranks then.
And then he seized the national tennis scene by storm. And he's been doing well. He's been doing well.
I think he's world number 22 now.
Yes, at the point it was world number 18. I don't know, maybe this is the latest ranking.
Okay.
I think after the Lagos tournament, the ITTF event, he became number 18 in the world. So I don't know
if he's going to go
current rankings now. What with this one that he has won, because this is his biggest rival. This is his biggest rival who used to beat Toriola.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that they say that we found a final
we
man
found
the Egyptians?
We found,
yeah, it was a junior champion.
You see, the thing is, in the days of Atonda Musa, the days of what's his name?
Kafo? What's the Kafo? The lady.
Sondiebo.
No,
Sondiebo too was also
yes, Francis Ebo.
Okay.
And this man, what's his name again?
Okay, remember.
Maybe I'll remember later. He was the number 1 before Atonda Musa became number 1, yes. You know, Kasali Lasisi.
Kasali Lasisi, okay.
In those days, the African countries could not challenge Nigeria in table tennis.
Yeah.
We will win the team events, we will win the mixed doubles, we will win all the medals, all the gold medals at stake. But Egypt began to creep in, and you can see that boy has done well.
They were giving more attention to development.
Yes, when you said I was going to support you, when you said starting with the sports policy, how do the American government does not need to spend a dime to create a world beater. The companies will spend money. Once they identify a talent, the companies, like the company, to use the word adopt, the company will adopt the star, and everything that the star needs will be on their bill.
Yeah.
So what we can do in our country is to say we want to produce 5 more Haruna Quadris, because they are there, the talents are there. And then we can now say, okay, any company that wants to support sports development, we give you tax holiday. It will be an incentive for this, for big companies, oil companies, and the rest of them to come in and support our sports. Yes. That's how it's done.
This time we are talking about unemployment on the streets and everything. Our youths
we can encourage these guys. They will become world champions. I'm telling you, there are talents in our country still bigger than this boy. Because this boy, like 3-4 years ago, this boy was not this big. Was still playing in the junior ranks.
Yeah, junior ranks. Yes.
Okay, I want to thank you, Shola Ojeusi, for coming after some time. It's been a while. Maybe on my shift.
This busy Abuja person.
and the popular Akikwelu.
The powers.
Thank you for being on the show. And the master himself, Babajide Kolade Otitoji. Thank you for always being there. And I want to use this opportunity to actually congratulate our Muslims, brothers and sisters, for the new Islamic calendar that kicked off today. I've forgotten. I think they call it Ijira. I'm sorry. But then, thank you. Congratulations to their own new year. Yes. Their new year starts from today, and the Muslim calendar actually starts from today. So to my Muslim brothers and sisters across the world, congratulations and happy New Year. And that's it on Journalist Hangout. Don't forget to join us tomorrow for another exciting episode of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. We're also on youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I am Ayodele Ozubaku. Bye for now. See you tomorrow.